You know a game that has style when you see it, and Borderlands 2 is hard to miss. Intense combat, amazing presentation, and tons of randomized weapons. This is one hell of a game, and you may think you do not have the computer necessary to run it, but you are probably wrong. This is the LowSpecGamer, where low is a new medium and the Intel HD 4000 is a decent GPU. So forget about dynamic shadows and even cel-shaded graphics, because we are making this game run.
And open!
This is the default configuration for the game uninstalled. The game's auto-set feature recognizes that I am using a system under the minimum requirements and automatically put everything to its possible minimum, so this is also going to be the reduced configuration. The resolution is 1366 by 768 and everything is on off or low, so this is as low as the game normally allows us. Let's give it a go. I wanted to run around Sanctuary as a way of measuring, since it's not a super open space and there's no combat going on, and I am seeing between 22 and 25 frames per second. That is not bad if it stayed there, but let's step out to an open space and performance drops under 20. It is kinda manageable with some combat if you're skillful, but if you're like me and you prefer to fight up close and use your skills, you will constantly see some massive drops. It gets hard to aim. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's fix it. First, we need to open the configuration file. For Borderlands 2, you need to go to your document folder, My Games, Borderlands 2, Willow Game, config, willowengine.ini. Open it up using Notepad. First thing we're going to look for is a variable called BALO light shafts. This variable controls an effect that looks like bars of light falling from the sky. This is cosmetic and we can disable to gain performance by putting it on false. Next we have distortion, an effect triggered by explosions. This was responsible for performance drops every time a grenade exploded. We can put it off by putting it to false. Next we have detail mode. This is very important. This variable is not in the in-game configuration and you can lower it to 1 or 0 for a substantial increase in performance. I am going to put it on 0. Finally, we have shadow resolution, controlled by two variables, min shadow resolution and max shadow resolution. These guys control the quality of the in-game shadows. You can reduce them to 512 to increase some performance, or you can take them down to their lowest possible, 256, for the maximum performance while still having shadows. Be sure to change both values and save the file. These changes help maintain the frame rate around 25 while traversing on big open areas, and closer to 30 while picking off enemies at some distance, which is nice but not really my style. Close combat, however, was between 20 and 25. At least the changes we made prevent performance from dropping under 20, so it is quite playable. But what if I told you there was a way to almost double this current performance? How? And at what cost? Well, time to find out. Man, this game can be so hard when you're playing alone. First, here in our configuration file, you are going to look for a variable called dynamic shadows. If reducing the quality of shadows was not enough for you, by changing this guy to false, you can disable most shadows completely and increase performance by a decent margin. Now, for the big one. Borderlands 2 is a game with a very characteristic cel-shaded graphical style with thick black borders around everything. But turns out this effect is added as a post-process over the existing graphics, which takes a lot of processing power, so for the truly desperate, the effect can be disabled. In the configuration file, look for the variable called default post-processing name. The normal value is willowengine_materials.willowScene_postprocessing. Change the second part to Ryan Scene post-process and save the file. Simple as that. The game does look a little bit odd with the cel shading off, and without it, the low resolution textures and details are more noticeable. But In exchange, we gain an outstanding gain in performance, in many instances double what we saw before, such as seeing 50 frames per second while in open areas, and anything between 30 and 40 while fighting around. I saw usually over 30 during heavy combat, no matter how close I got to the enemy. This is amazing for a computer that had trouble doing 15 during combat using the low preset, so I think the sacrifice was worth it. This is it for this episode. This game is great, and with these tweaks you can run it way under the minimum requirements, so get playing! Finally, do you have any recommendation on what game should I try next? Do you want to join me for a game of Borderlands 2? Do you have any questions regarding how do I make these videos? Leave me a comment, or better, follow me on Twitter and ask. I do my best to read everything. Until next time!